Indy Mogul.
This week on Indie News, how two editors work on the same project across different computers. The latest news in crowdfunding, fireworks in bullet time, YouTube copyright explained by puppets, a cheaper 3-axis gimbal for smooth shots, and the camera I use is on sale. Hey Indie Mogulers, Griffin here. On video projects, I do not mind shooting and editing by myself because I get complete creative control. But for my Sriracha documentary, I know I'm better off collaborating with a talented team. It'll make the film better and it'll save me time. So when my friend Skylar volunteered to be an assistant editor, I thought, great. But how do we do that? How do we work on the same project on two different computers at the same time? Today I'll share my workflow. We're using Final Cut Pro 10, but many of these tricks apply across platforms. Before editing, I back up my footage, storing it in 3 places. First, I copy the SD cards to a 1 terabyte hard drive. Then I use a cloud backup service called CrashPlan, which copies that drive. Then I import the SD cards into Final Cut Pro, which stores them locally on the internal hard drive. I just got back from New York with several interviews for the documentary, and Skylar here is going to help me process them. So I taught him some basic commands like J, K, and L to shuttle through footage, and Command B to make a cut. Explain what I have you doing here.
We started with an 11.5-minute interview, and what I did is I cut out you saying any of the questions, and we cut it down to about 8.5 minutes altogether.
You might wonder why he has 3 screens. Showing the viewer in a second monitor frees up some space. I also have Skylar typing out what's said in each interview. It's easier to control playback on one computer while typing on the other. He's also renaming each clip in the timeline with these quotes, making them easier to identify. Click on the little list icon in the bottom left.
This one?
Yeah. And now we have a full list of each clip, all the lines that she said, and it's cool because it's searchable. So like, what are you're searching Hoi Fong?
Yep.
Yeah.
And we can find this one specific.
Cool. I think you actually spelled Hoi Fong wrong.
Yeah, probably did. Should I redo that real quick?
Yeah, I guess you should redo it in those 2 clips. By doing this preliminary work, Skylar is saving me a lot of time, but only if I can also be working on the project simultaneously. Most editing platforms create project files, which are relatively small because they simply reference the large unedited video files. Final Cut Pro 10 keeps projects in the projects folder and video files in the events folder. By simply copying this data to a different computer with Final Cut, I can edit there as well. I find it's easiest to boot the second Mac in target mode by holding down T while powering up. This essentially turns the laptop into an external hard drive, which I can access via Thunderbolt cable. Every interview in my film has a distinct project and event, so it's easier to pick and choose what to copy over. Because I put the event folder in the Movies directory, the same place it was on the other computer, the project file still knows where to find it, and I can edit on this machine. I'll take the project Skylar just finished and rename it, so now we have 2 versions of the project, his original and mine, which I'll trim down to just the best sound bites. An interview that lasted 24 minutes on camera becomes 18 after Skylar's pass, and after I cut it, it's only 3 minutes of footage that I might use in the film. But because Skylar transcribed and labeled each clip, if I realize I need something that I cut out, I can always go back to our notes to find it. Now I can copy this new project back to the original computer. I don't need to copy the event folder because those original video files are already there. And there it is, the project file I just worked on. So this is your first time using Final Cut?
Correct.
What is that experience like?
It's really good. It's pretty intuitive.
Is there anything that's like really hard to get used to?
I've had a lot of troubles with moving the playhead, clicking, and knowing where I'm gonna start playing.
Because there's 2 playheads in Final Cut, kind of. There's like the one that's there, and then there's the one that's always attached to your cursor. And yeah, when you push play, it uses the one that's attached to your cursor, not the one that's, yeah, which gets confusing. If you're using Final Cut Pro 10 and have any questions about how the software works, let me know in the comments. My Kickstarter project for the Sriracha documentary is still going strong. 11 days left, and we've already raised over $17,000. I told you a couple weeks ago that anyone around the world can give money to a Kickstarter project, but only people in the US and UK can start a project. But this week, Kickstarter announced that they're launching in Canada later this summer. Kevin Smith this week said that he could probably raise $5 to $7 million on Kickstarter to produce Clerks 3, but he won't. He thinks it's unfair when celebrities use crowdfunding, that maybe they're taking away money that could be going to indie filmmakers. What do you think? Leave a comment below. James Franco is using Indiegogo right now, trying to raise $500,000 to produce 3 films based on his book Palo Alto. He's trying to help a few up-and-coming directors that he met in grad school, and he says that if these films make any money, he'll give it to charity. A couple months ago, I showed you Mark Rober's ceiling fan technique for capturing bullet time. And this week, for Independence Day, Jeremiah Warren mounted a similar rig to capture slow-motion fireworks. He's shooting at 240 frames per second, which the GoPro Hero 3 can capture in standard definition. For more on this cool effect, he also shared a behind-the-scenes video. You know, that was someone else's creative work that I just shared in this video. Is that okay? Is it legal? It is. By commenting on that video, and I'm not stealing his original audience, I'm not breaking copyright. That's considered fair use. But copyright is confusing, and it's especially hard to understand how it's implemented and enforced on YouTube. So YouTube teamed up with the puppets at Glove and Boots to explain it.
Yeah? Well, copyright is not doing crap! YouTube hired us to make this video and it has just been stolen! I'm going to tell the bigwigs at YouTube that we should be fired.
Don't panic. YouTube has a copyright takedown process to protect content owners.
If you're impressed by the new FreeFly Movi camera stabilizer, but don't have $7,500 to spend, the B-Steady 1 is about to launch on Kickstarter, and the price tag for this similar 3-axis gimbal will be $3,000, which is still expensive, but it's cool to see more options coming to the market. If you're in the market for this camera, the Panasonic GH3 is normally $1,300 for body only, but right now it's 20% off on Amazon and B&H. You could also check out the Panasonic G6, which has many similar features and is only $750 with a lens. My friend Nick just bought the G6, so when he gets it, I'll have to do a video comparing these two cameras. On this week's playlist, I have fireworks in slow motion bullet time, YouTube copyright basics, and this week's new and notable video contests. Thank you for watching. We love our audience here at Indie Mogul, and if you want to be inspired by the work that other people watching this show are making, here is a playlist of 5 Mogular-made short films that you just gotta check out. Thanks for watching. I will see you later.